What is going on, everybody? Thank you so much for tuning in, and welcome to the first interview that I get to do with Eagles head coach Cam Keith ahead of an interesting 2020-21 BCHL season. But as always, Cam, thank you so much for doing this. And how are you during the first couple days of fall?
Well, we're back playing hockey. That was the main focus of the summer, was trying to create a safe environment for these kids to come back and get training and get on the ice. And so we're back at it. So a lot of fun.
It's been a lot of fun, but it was quite the summer for the league, quite the summer for yourself personally, and that's where we'll start. What was it like trying to recruit in an off-season filled with so much uncertainty?
Well, we did a lot of our recruiting during the summer, the end of last season and during the season. So we didn't really have to, per se, build a team during the summer. A lot of it was kind of confirming with different players, making sure certain guys were coming in. We didn't have to do the same build that we did the previous year. So many returning kids meant less kids coming in. So more of it was just kind of keeping track of players, making sure that their training is going well and that they're prepared for whatever the season is. With so much uncertainty going on, it was kind of balancing all those questions when you don't really know what's going to be happening. So that was a challenge for us, but the kids are here now, and we're excited to keep moving forward.
We're going to talk about this group as a whole a little bit later, but let's start with some of those returning kids. What's it like being able to fine-tune a roster that went through so much last season? Of course, culminated by the fact that they won their first-round playoff series versus Chilliwack before last season got prematurely shut down.
It was, looking at our roster every day was exciting. So many returning kids that made such big strides during the playoffs. So much excitement that was built into going on to the next round, and these kids kind of finding themselves. It's been an absolute pleasure for me and Brad and Blaine to kind of construct what we think this year is going to be, and kind of changing our focus from a development season into a championship run. And that's been our focal point from as soon as we were told that the season's canceled to where we are at right now. And that's the message that's been delivered from the first day on the ice with the guys during the summer, is that this is our year. And no matter what happens externally as far as COVID or whatever other challenges we have, the one thing we can control is that mindset of winning a championship.
Well, it's the second year of the 2-year plan that you brought up right when we both got brought on at the beginning of last season. Now let's talk about some of these new kids that you've got that are looking to make big impacts. You can start with the two prized acquisitions of Mark Hillier and Cole Galata, all the way down the lineup to Teo Daddario, Holden Cardinal, and others. How exciting was it to be able to land such what looks to be high impact kids going into this year?
The thing that we wanted to create was 4 lines that you couldn't tell which one was the first and which one was the fourth. And we believe we've done that. When you say look up, look down, we look at it in a straight plane where every kid can be interchanged with other kids. They all think the game the same level. Mark Hillier and Cole Galata, if you want to put them on the high end of that IQ hockey sense, kind of, yes, they are probably at that point, but they're all interchangeable. And Cole and Mark bring the element of they played together. They had a lot of success last year, and they come with the Division I tags. But you quickly look at Teal, Suretsky, the big step that Holden Cardinal took this summer. These kids are all lumped into the same wow factor that we have right now, and that the other vets are starting to see, and it's already building up this kind of avalanche of excitement within our group. So, yeah, every day is a pleasure right now. We're so excited about the future and what these kids are going to display, and we hope that everyone can kind of witness what we're witnessing right now.
Well, a lot of high-profile kids in the summer. You brought in a lot of guys, but your work never stops as far as trying to make your team better. The most recent news, the acquisition of Richmond native Michael Abgrall. What was that like, and how exciting is it to bring a kid who was a top 6 forward as a 16-year-old last year?
Very exciting. When his name is mentioned in the hockey community, it's NHL prospect is immediately followed. So I was fortunate enough to go through the process with Ken Johnson when he was 15, and I got to watch him evolve as a player from 15 to 16 to now being projected into, top NHL draft picks. And Michael's in that same conversation. He brings a different element than Kent does, but he also brings the same kind of hockey sense. Someone that's playing at 16, but they look like they're 22 with the way that they think, the way that they carry themselves. So I pinch myself right now with the idea that I get to coach a kid every day, and these kids get to experience him, and he just kind of gets naturally put into that mold of everyone is going to be able to feed off of that excitement, and hopefully this thing keeps building. But he's a very big piece, and we're expecting him to possibly be the guy for us this year.
So, I mean, there's so many guys that you look at this roster that are, it could be top BCHL players. I mean, even the guys that are still here, Gabe Skovanek, Brandon Sanawana, Carter King. I mean, Christian Fitzgerald in the playoffs last year was huge. What's the difficulty for you in having a roster that looks to be as deep as this one is going into next year?
Difficulty. No, that's a word that I wouldn't use to describe it.
Could be easy. It could be not challenging at all. But
it's not. Honestly, I think it's going to be a lot of fun. I think when you have this amount of talent and hockey sense that these kids are going to be excited to play with each other. We're going to have a ton of flexibility in our lineup with what we can do, rather than being stuck on 3-4 kids that can only play with each other, and that separation of top 6 to bottom 6. We wanted to eliminate that completely. We wanted to have a team that was built on wave after wave after wave, which is, the strength of the big programs like Chilliwack and Penticton, where it's really hard to defend against them because you can't key on one line. Now, this group might not have that one guy as far as like a Christophe Tellier, where they can completely, everyone focuses on him and he's almost unstoppable. We believe as a group we're going to be unstoppable. Unstoppable is the wrong word. Sorry. Hard to defend against. Hard to play contain. Against. We're going to keep some humility within our group, and within that group they're going to have to still challenge each other and to get better every day. But difficulty, no. We look at it as fun, and it's going to be a chance for these kids to play with each other and bounce around from there is no first, there is no fourth, just I'm playing with this kid today. I'm excited. Let's go.
Speaking of fun, I mean, you're back on the ice. You made mention of that very early on. You're about 2.5 weeks into an extended training camp, I will say. Of course, we still got a few months left. How's that been so far, getting this group kind of back into it and getting yourself ready for what you say could be a championship season?
It's been good. It's been challenging with the restrictions of the kids got to get dressed outside. We're only allowed 20 on the ice, including coaches right now. So we have to split up into 2 groups, which is a challenge, but also you can kind of flip it into a learning experience for these kids, that this is a humble beginning. Nobody's in the dressing room right now. We're kind of put in a spot where everyone has to kind of obey to these rules that they're not normally doing, and still come on the ice every day and work for 2 hours and get something positive out of it without really knowing when we're going to be playing real games or if that's going to happen, essentially, because no one can really guarantee anything right now. We have a solid plan as a league, but these kids know that nothing's guaranteed right now. So taking that all aside, this group has just been phenomenal with it. Every day it seems like they're bringing a new energy. We're focusing more on, the development side rather than the system side of it. So, which is fun for coaches because you don't have to really draw a bunch of forechecking defensive structure. You just, let's go get better today and let's have some fun doing it. Let's compete against each other, small area games. And we've already seen a big growth in a lot of these kids, returning and new kids. And so it's exciting stuff.
We'll move back. We talked about how you wanted to be able to roll 4 lines of forwards, but most BCHL teams don't get to say that they're bringing back all 6 defensemen from last season. Didn't have to make a ton of adds there. What's that like, being able to bring back your entire defense corps, which was improving steadily at the end of last year?
You said enough. In the BCHL, it's a challenge to find D that can all contribute. It's hard. Usually D in BC and whatnot, or the USHL, they're plucking the best ones. So we were very fortunate to have 6 that could play last year that could contribute offensively and defend. And the fact that they're all coming back into this mesh of guys that all work together well is it's a coach's dream. And our challenge will be, and Brad's challenge as a defensive coach, is to push them to continue to evolve into offensive guys, to jump up in the rush. Your Jimmy Darby's and Kieran O'Hearn's, guys that are prototypical defensive defensemen, Kate Alami. But then you got Brett Bliss, Owen Nolan are these blend of offensive jump up in the rush, and we want all these guys, just wave after wave of guys jumping up and making plays. And you saw it last year in the playoffs. That was a huge reason why we had success. So we're not afraid. We're not oblivious to that, and we know we got to continue to do that and continue to get better on the back end, which will translate into more offensive with these forwards.
I got one last question for you, and if you didn't think I was going to ask about the fact that Tommy Scarfoni is coming back as well, maybe a little out to lunch, but you have 20-year-old Tommy Scarfoni coming in this season as the guy. Last year he was battling for a number 1 spot coming out of Stansted College with the other goaltenders that were here, and then late in the season he split time with Reese Klassen. But after everything that you've seen from Scarfoni, what do you got to say about the fact that it looks like you're going to have one of the better, or may I say best, goaltenders in the league?
There's a universal theme with coaches in hockey is goalies make you look good. They win you hockey games. I don't care what you know as a coach, what you draw up. If you don't have a kid like Tommy Scarfoni, you're not going to win many hockey games. He's our best player. He's the only reason. Okay, only is not the right wording. He is one of the main reasons why we beat Chilliwack last year in the playoffs. There's no doubt about that. You don't win championships without your best player. And Tommy Scarfoni, undeniably, no matter what kind of pieces I put in front of him, he's our best player. He's the heart and soul of this team. He earned it last year. He came in as a 19-year-old rookie and battled through a lot of adversity. Even when I told him he wasn't the guy during playoffs, he still came in and bailed me out, bailed this team out. Tommy Scarfoni, main focus is to get him a scholarship because I believe he's the best goalie in this league.
All right, Cam, this has been an absolute pleasure for myself. Thank you so much for doing this. I don't want to hold you too long. You got to get back out on the ice, more training camp. And thank you to all the Eagles friends and family and fans for supporting the team throughout an unusual summer, and to look forward to the upcoming season ahead.